hustling, thrifting, clicking that vintage honey, traveling for them deals.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining me on this treasure hunt. This is a church rummage sale in my local town. And honestly, I was pretty disappointed when I came around the corner and came into the room. Last year, at the end of summer, they did one of these sales, and their room was packed. There was probably like twice as much stuff in there at the end of last summer than there is now. So I was really disappointed right off the get-go. And honestly, I didn't find much here, but the few items that I did find, they will make me some money. But I did pay up for them also because they're trying to earn money for a missions trip, so I offered a little more. I looked at this Elmo, but his eyes were super yellow, so I just put him back down. Anytime I go to these sales, I usually hit the toys first because that's usually what I like buying. But then I'll hit the Christmas stuff to see if there's any vintage Christmas. I really don't see much here. I've done really well on stockings in the past, but all of these stockings are pretty modern. The knitted ones from the 50s usually do really well, like $50 to $100 a piece, but you rarely find them. And I always look at the Halloween stuff because Halloween stuff sells really well. A few of those figures were broke, so I just kept strolling on. I never look at blankets. I hardly ever look at clothing and purses and stuff like that. They're just not my thing. Checking out the electronics, pretty sun-baked stuff. Pretty dirty, very dirty actually. Some of them were just didn't look like they were in the best condition, so I passed on those as well. Plus, I have so many VHS and DVD players, Blu-ray players stacked up in my shop that I never have time to list anyways, so I typically pass on unless they're like an $80 to $100 piece. Lots of crafting stuff that just doesn't sell. Bunch of pictures. Nothing good, really. Looking over the toys again. Sometimes you'll be surprised when you walk back by some stuff for the second time what you'll find. And this is case in point. I walked right past this stuff earlier and didn't see the vintage buttons that were sitting in the basket. And there's some good ones in there. That pumpkin is a really good one, and there's a bunch of ET pins that do very well. So I'll definitely pick those up. Next up here are some VHS. Now, in the past, I probably would have just walked right past these, but after seeing a lot of other resellers pick up certain VHS, I have decided to start looking them over at least and seeing if anything catches my eye. And honestly, it's been bugging me all weekend since I left this cell. I should have looked these over better. I looked at the clamshells, and that was about it. But you'd be surprised. There are some just regular paper-sleeved VHS that do really well. For instance, the Cars, Pixar Cars, is probably one of the more rare VHS tapes out there, and it could sell up to $1,000 or more. So definitely look over the VHS. The books, there were a few old ones. I looked up comps when I got home. I forgot my phone, so I was kind of winging it on all this stuff. And a couple of the books here, they do okay. But the sold comps were okay, but there was very few of them, so it would have been a waste of time and money to buy any of them. So passed on all the books. Oh man, I totally missed that Garfield book, guys. I would have bought that for myself. Oh, it sucks. Now here are some cassette tapes. Now cassette tapes, definitely don't pass on those either. All of these look like faith-based cassettes and CDs, but the cassette player and recorder caught my eye. It's got someone took some white out or something and colored in the buttons. I should be able to get that off. The unit looks really clean besides that, so I figured, it's probably worth at least $10 to $15. I didn't buy any of the cassettes except for the blanks that I'm about to pick up here in a second. I did grab those. I figured they'd be great to sell together. I really wish I would have brought my cell phone because, like, for this item here, it looked really clean, but I didn't have my phone to comp it, and I'm glad I didn't pick it up because it only goes for like 10 or 15 bucks, and there's not very many solds, but I passed on it, so don't have to worry about that, I guess. Went over to look at some hats. A lot of them were just like local hats, nothing fantastic, so I went ahead and passed on those. On one of the tables that I just walked past, there was a lady looking at a bunch of brand new bundles of socks. They looked like they were probably 20 years old. You'd be really surprised how well vintage socks sell. I don't know why, but I have done really well with vintage socks that are brand new on eBay. Especially socks that, if you can find socks from the 70s and 80s, they sell really, really well. But she already had picked them all up and was getting ready to put them in her bag, so missed out on those. At these types of sales, I walk back and forth down these aisles looking over and over and over again. 'Cause like I said before, you just don't know what you missed the first time. So the second or third time I start going through stuff, I started looking through stuff a little bit better. And like this item here, I walked right past it earlier. It probably won't sell for much. My guess is it's probably a $10 set of vintage Christmas lights. Typically, I pay like 50 cents to $1 for those types of items, and I usually always sell them. They usually always sell on eBay around Christmas time, so that's a definite pickup. It needs a little bit of cleanup. It's pretty dusty, but it should sell well at Christmas time. I'm pretty sure that little bell with the bear on top right there is Avon, and it may do pretty well actually, but I didn't catch that while I was there. These type of items, I usually check to see if they're Avon or not. Avon Christmas items usually sell really well, so I always check those out. And vintage Christmas ornaments usually do really well too, but there was nothing fantastic in that box, unfortunately. One thing that I'm noticing, guys, seeing myself pick for the first time like this on video, is I need to slow down and I need to take my time looking at stuff because I've noticed two things so far that I've missed: that bell and then the Garfield book. And there's actually more Garfield books there that I see underneath other ones also. I'm looking over the shoes basically because I'd like to pick up a pair of Hey Dudes for myself, but all of these are well used shoes. There's nothing. I'd like to find a pair that's almost brand new or maybe even in the box still for myself this summer. I have bought a couple over Amazon, but I've had to send them back because I just didn't like them. But hopefully I can find a pair of canvas Hey Dudes at one of these yard sales or estate sales this summer. I don't even know why I'm looking at the mugs. They've been bad luck for me lately. Stay away from mugs. Some of this stuff I'm about to look at, I wish I had my cell phone, because then I could, I can comp some of this stuff. This box looks like hearing aids, and, they could sell for really good money, but I didn't have my phone, so I could have offered hardly anything for them, but then I would have felt really bad because, it's a benefit sale, so I didn't want to do that. Same with this phone, if I had my cell phone with me, I could have comped that out and see how that would have done. If you guys see anything that I've missed, just point it out to me in the comments below. I need all the help that I can get. I got a lot of learning left to do. Basically, my sourcing technique for this entire summer is going to be sticking with stuff that I know will sell this calendar year. Also, only buying stuff that either I enjoy flipping or things that will give me a really good profit. So I have so much inventory in my shop that honestly I shouldn't be sourcing at all right now. But the yard sale trail always pulls me in. I always want to go to the yard sales. I always want to go to the rummage and estate sales. So I'm still going to be going to them this summer. Probably really picking and choosing which ones I go to, just because, there's so many that just have tons of junk. So really looking over the pictures that are posted for the sales. There was no pictures posted for this sale. There was just a flyer that went out on social media locally, so there was no pictures. And honestly, if there would have been pictures of this sale, I probably would not have gone. Just based off what you see on the tables and the amount of clothes that were there, I probably would have passed. But I was able to give them $10 and help them towards their missions trip. Here I am again looking at mugs. Walk away from the mugs. Alright, it's time to check out. I need to stand in line, get out of here, and I got one more stop before I head home to pick up some things that I left behind at a private pick the night before. So I ended up giving them $10 for the 4 items that I have. These items I probably would have paid no more than $5 for at a regular yard sale. So I did definitely pay up for them. At least I feel like I did. The guy's wearing a pretty sweet shirt, by the way. All right, here we go. Time to check out. Christmas lights, tapes, recorder. I think I have all the stuff that I bought, guys. I think the buttons are really going to be the item that pays off. I would offer $10. So I'll probably be able to get 15 to 20 bucks for the cassette player, and then $10 for the Christmas lights. But those buttons, I bet you I can probably make close to 50 bucks off the buttons when it's all said and done.
I need 10. Yeah, I need 10 back.
Waiting for my change.
It doesn't matter how you slice it and dice it as long as it's 10.
Right? Exactly. All right, On. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, it's time to split.
You too.
After this, I'm probably going to head to Dutch Bros, get some coffee, pick up those few items that I need to grab from the private pick from the night before, and then head back home to the office. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
Traveling for them deals to make it happen for the family. Mid-century modern collectibles aplenty.